Hey guys, what's going on? This is Zeno, and today, for whatever reason, I felt like making a video. We got some Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls here, and I'm playing my monk. So I decided, because I've been playing this monk for quite a while now actually, and I have most of the pieces that I'm looking for, that I do a Fire Monk guide. Now, I'm not specifically going to go over one ability that I'm going to be using, or one set of abilities. Or anything like that. What I would like to do is just go over Fire Monks in general and how I'm playing mine right now, and how you should alter how you play yours depending on certain scenarios in the game. So we'll go over the abilities right now, and this is kind of what I'm using. So Deadly Reach, got that Strike from Beyond, so we get 3 additional spirit for every enemy that we hit, for every crit that we do. So that's kind of nice because you can generate spirit very quickly, because as I've gotten gear, I've got away from spirit regen and kind of relied on Deadly Reach. So I do more damage now, and I'm burstier in a sense, but I don't hit as many Lashing Tail kicks as I would like to. But that's okay because I've kind of sacrificed spirit regen for damage, which is ultimately significantly better. Dashing Strike, I just have the Quicksilvers for 1 additional charge, because sometimes it is very laggy and you kind of spam it and use an extra charge and stuff like that. But as far as this ability goes, it's specifically for repositioning yourself, because how I play my Fire Monk, positioning is very important, as well as you can dash in and out of certain abilities like Waller and go through walls and stuff like that. So you can move around the map very effectively with this ability. Epiphany, Inner Fire, kind of self-explanatory. The thing is absolutely a beast. I do hate that you teleport to the mob that you are targeting. That has probably killed me more times than I'd like to admit, but the extra damage it does, especially if you can handle the mobs and if it's not like too much Desecrator, like fucking purple beams of death and all that other shit, the ability is absolutely phenomenal. It just clears the whole map of everything. And the spirit regen is nice, because when you are doing rifts or something like that, you can pretty much just sit on the boss the whole time till he's dead without having to worry about generating more spirit. My mantra, I'm using Conviction with Overawe. Reason for this is because I want to do more damage. Now previously, when I had less gear, which is actually very important as well, at least from what I think, but I was actually using Mantra of Healing with, where is it here? This circular breathing, yeah. Mantra of Healing also regenerates 3 spirit per second. I was stacking spirit regen when I was when I had less gear, and the reason for that is because before I got my Cinder Coat, which is a huge part of the build, I would basically use a few Lashing Tail kicks and I'd be done. So spirit regen was a huge factor in being able for me to be able to use the ability effectively. So I didn't feel like I had to Lashing Tail kick 3 times and then use my spirit generator and go back and forth. So for what I've switched up now, I do more damage, and I'm still kind of playing with certain things as well, but what I was end up using was Mystic Ally with the Air Ally. Now I'm using the Fire one because you get 10% extra damage, which is pretty big. And when you activate it, your Mystic Ally splits into 10 allies that explode for 149% weapon damage as fire, which scales with your bonus fire damage. So kind of nice, kind of, I don't know. It's good for the extra damage when you have more gear, but in the early stages when you are gearing up your monk, I would definitely recommend using Air Ally, because you gain 100 spirit when you activate it, and you gain 2 spirit regen per second. So that's very nice. You can go through spamming your Lashing Tail kick, and as you're getting low, you just activate it and boom, you're pretty much full again. Good to go. I only switched because of the damage now, and I actually notice a fairly big difference, and I don't mind not having as much spirit regen, so because I do have more gear. So as I've geared up, I've gone from spirit regen to more damage and a little bit more survivability. And then for me, for my Lashing Tail kick, a lot of people use Vulture Claw, which is very nice in a I'm not going to say an AoE setting, because it is like a 360 kick pretty much that you do, right? Like, so this is it right here, and that is actually a pretty wide radius. It's a little bit bigger than the spell effect, but I don't know. I've used it and I don't mind it. The problem I think with Vulture Claw kick for me at least in my playstyle, is you now have to jump into all the mobs, which put yourself in kind of awkward situations every once in a while. I like the spinning flame kick only because it allows me to have a little bit more range with mine, and that's why I'm using Quicksilver as well, because you want to position yourself in a way that your Lashing Tail kick, is hitting as many mobs as possible, which is kind of obvious, but yeah, so that's pretty much that. It's just kind of a big difference for me. I like this playstyle more and using this, and this is what I've used since I started playing the Fire Monk, so I just kind of got used to it. It does a little bit more damage, which is negligible. It depends on what you're looking for. Now, the only time I might say it would be really good to switch is if you have Mad Monarch Scepter, I think it is, where it does like 1300% weapon damage after you kill 10 mobs. That's when I might actually switch to Vulture Claw Kick, because that would just be absolutely insane. You just go in, kick, 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 boom, everything explodes, and it's just phenomenal. I haven't got one yet, so I haven't been able to test that out. As far as passives go, STI or Seize the Initiative, pretty much mandatory for higher torments. You can switch this out at Torment 1, 2, and stuff like that, but for me, I've been playing around 3, grouping with people as well, and just doing rifts and stuff like that. So, 30% increased armor from your dexterity, phenomenal, which is really nice. One with everything, basically standard. Every monk uses this, as far as what I've seen. You just stack 1 resistance and you're pretty much beast mode. Transcendence is nice. It is that little bit of extra healing. I've been playing around with this one a little bit more and using things like Exalted Soul, Unity, Mystic Rhythm, that sort of thing, and seeing what I like. I do like the fact that when I use Epiphany, I have so much spirit regen and I'm spending so much spirit that I'm actually healing myself for quite a bit. I think I calculated it out. It's about, if I spend my entire spirit here, so the 177 that I have, it gives me about 56-ish thousand life. So just a little bit of extra healing, which is kind of nice. But as far as this talent goes, you can pretty much use whatever you want. Exalted Soul is phenomenal. You get 100 extra spirit, more spirit regen. As you're gearing up, if you just leveled a monk and you want to go fire or you want to do stuff like that, I would just definitely recommend going with a lot of spirit regen, because then you're not going to feel like you have to use your generator as much, and you can just kind of use the ability, which is very strong. Unity is phenomenal. It sucks because it doesn't do anything with conviction, because it doesn't apply to your party. So each ally affected by your mantras, it's not a buff to them, it's a debuff to the mobs, so it's kind of shitty in that sense, which is, I think, how they wanted it, because you're basically doubling up on damage just by using this mantra and then this, which would be very nice, but unfortunately that's not how it works. So if you're using a different mantra as well, Unity's really good, because when you're in a party, it's 15% damage for everyone that's affected as well. Mythic Rhythm, really good. I don't think it's as good for fire as it is for a lightning monk, because for the most part you're not using your generator as often. Like, you basically deplete your spirit regen, use it, and then go back to doing that. So whereas a lightning monk, you're auto attacking or you're using your spirit's generator a lot more, so I don't think you get as much out of it. As far as other things you can do, you can use something like momentum, because you're going to be dashing around quite a bit as well, fleet-footed if you really want the movement speed, but it's completely up to you. And that's, it just depends on where you're at with your gear and where you want to go with, if you want more damage, if you want more survivability, if you want, different things that way. As far as my last one, I'm using Chain of Resonance, because I do spam Mantra of Conviction a lot. I try and keep it on cooldown as much as I can, or at least up as much as I can. And the extra 2 spirit regen is really nice when I have that, so reducing the cost by 50% is pretty nice. As far as what I'm using, that's pretty much the build. Now, you can use different things, obviously. Deadly Reach you don't have to use. You can use whatever you want as far as the spirit generator goes. I just like this because it adds a little bit of CC, because that's where fire is lacking. You have the ability to do a shit ton of damage, but as far as control and stuff like that, you have a lot less at your disposal than, say, a lightning monk. So that's pretty much that. The only reason I am using this is just because of that knockup. It's just so good, and the 3 additional spirit every time I crit, which is very nice. As far as gear, There's a lot of things you want to look for. Now my gear is not perfect, but there's still a lot of pieces that I'm looking for as of right now. But the core of the build is here. So the big thing is getting something like the Burning Axe of Sancus or the Devastator. Both give you, ideally you would want both. Both give you fire skills damage, which is what we're going to be stacking. Right now I haven't been able to roll a Devastator, which is a one-handed mace, very well. It hasn't either got a socket or dex, and I want both. So I'm using a Thunder Fury, which is kind of nice because the proc is still huge. For me it crits for like 2.67 or 2.6 or 3 million-ish. The chain lightning part, so still a very good weapon, but ideally you'd want to have a Devastator in there because of that +% damage to fire. So that's pretty much it. If I could roll one of these with dex, fire skills, and a socket, that would be even better. Unfortunately it hasn't been that way. As far as boots go, you can pretty much use whatever you want. Ideally I would like to use pants and boots from another set if I get the what's it called? The Ring of Royal Grandeur or whatever, so that I can have the 3-piece set bonus, be a little tankier and stuff like that. But right now I'm using Ice Climbers. The immunity to freeze and immobilize effects is absolutely phenomenal. Can't be jailed, can't be frozen. There's a lot of things you can't be trapped as well, like the slows from the traps don't do anything for you. So you're basically immune to CC minus the teleport thing that the mobs have, which I don't even remember what it's called, but big defensive boots, very nice. You can actually get more damage on your boots if you roll Lashing Tail Kick on there. So that is something to keep in mind as well. I'm using Kane's pants because that's pretty much the best pants I've got so far. I've been very unlucky with them, so that's about it. Like, I'm not even using Crippling Waves, so there's a lot more upgrades still to be done here. As far as belt goes, this is the best thing I've got. Very defensive belt. The chance on hit to create a chaos field and blinds and slows enemies inside for 3 seconds is huge. I mean, the radius is probably about this big or so, like where I'm moving the mouse. So you do CC a lot of mobs, and people that like mobs that walk into that field also get blinded and stuff like that. So it is a very nice addition to the CC. Ideally, there's a few other belts that you would like in place of this one, but as far as it goes, just use whatever you can for this slot. There's not too much. Like, obviously if you get something like a Witching Hour or Harrington's Waistguard or something like that, you would want to be using those, but for now this is kind of what I have. Mage Fist, very, very huge. Honestly, I would love to have the Vitality as crit damage. I have not got some. I haven't got a pair yet that have rolled with crit damage and attack speed. So unfortunately, those are the best that I have. Comes with fire skill damage every single time, so that's something you want to get. Pick up the Mage Fists. I'm using Leorix just for the fire resist because that's what I'm stacking, or at least trying to. Bonus experience is very nice. The ring is not bad. I have a better one in my stash, but I'm just trying to gain some Paragon levels. Ideally, you want crit damage, dexterity, and then whatever else you want on here. The Stone of Jordan, now this could be a little bit better, but it is still very nice. Increased damage to elites is massive. My crits doubled basically when I got this, or very close to it, it looked like at least. Fire skill damage rolled perfect, so that's very nice. Got the dex. If the average damage wasn't there, if I had something like crit damage, that'd be very nice, or even crit, but crit damage would probably be better. But the damage is still really good. The ring is very solid. That's something, if you can get one, pick it up and roll it as many times as you can just to get that, because the ring adds so much damage. I'm using two-piece Auguild Search. These could be a little bit better, but they're not bad. Reduced damage from range attacks by 7%, reduced damage from melee attacks by 7% is really nice. If I got the ring, I would have that extra bonus of reduce the damage and increase my damage by 15%, which would take place of the Leorix. So what you're looking for on here, dex, vitality if you can get some, crit, more fire skill because you can roll that on your bracers as well, and then the shoulders, what I'm using for this set. Realistically, if you can roll all resist, that'd be great. Resource cost reduction is still really good because it just lowers how much spirit it costs you to Lashing Tail Kick, and if it rolled fire resist, that would have been perfect for me, but still very nice. Your shoulders are pretty much a defensive slot, so if you can get more vitality, percent life, that sort of thing, dex, all that kind of stuff, that's what you really want on your shoulders because there's not too many damage abilities that you can get on them. And then the helm. Now this and the chest piece are pretty much the two standard core pieces that you need. Once you get that, you'll notice a huge difference in playstyle, and your damage output is going to go absolutely through the roof. Now mine rolled with spirit regen, very nice for the most part. If it would have rolled, I don't know, even attack speed, I guess, or vitality, it'd still be nice, but spirit regen is good. I rolled the 6% crit, got the dex on there, so that's perfect. The reason why this is so good is because the proc. So every time I Lashing Tail Kick, it releases a piercing fireball that deals 374% weapon damage. I do believe cap is 400%, but even then, this is the highest roll that I've seen from any fire monk that I've played with so far, and it, you know, has fired enemies within 10 yards on impact. So this scales with your fire damage, which just once you get this helm, like I got this before my Cinder Coat actually, and I just noticed such a massive amount of damage. So if you can pick one of these up, I would definitely recommend doing so. I mean, it's easier said than done, right? But this is such a core piece of the build, it's unreal. And then the Cinder Coat. Now mine rolled very low, but the fire skills damage is, you know, one away from perfect. But I rolled with Dex, Vitality, I rolled the 3 sockets. Right now I'm low on resist, so I'm running some gems in there just to kind of aid that. Comes with fire resist, which is very nice because I'm trying to stack fire, so as I get pieces of gear I want to hopefully get fire resistance on there. And then reduces the resource cost of fire skills by 23%. Now cap is 30, so if you can get closer to that, that would be better. If I could replace this, I would be extremely happy because 7% makes a huge difference. But as far as your build, the Cinder Coat and the helm are absolutely like mandatory in doing something like this because it just ups your damage, lowers the cost so you can do more, and it just makes it so it's a much more flawless experience or smooth experience in playing fire. And then the Ouroboros. Now if you can get one of these without attack speed on it that'll have fire skills damage, that's ideally what you want. Unfortunately mine didn't roll with that and I rolled 94% crit damage. Still very nice. Has some poison resist, so kind of mediocre in that for the secondary stats, but still a pretty nice amulet nonetheless. As far as stats and what you're going for, obviously more dex is better. And you want fire skill damage. I would strain away from attack speed a little bit. I mean, having some is really good, but ideally what you want is crit and crit damage. Now I'm floating at 46.5 because I changed out one of my rings for Leorix, and 452%. Now if I got crit damage on my gloves, you know, it'd be closer to 500, so that would be nice. But ideally what you want to do is hit 50% crit. Once you have that, then crit damage becomes like it gives you more DPS per point. So ideally when you get to or even close, like like in the high 40s, so maybe even 48, 49, 47 even, crit damage is just so good after that. So that's kind of where you're floating for as far as stats go. If you can pick up things like spirit regen, that's nice. If you can pick up health, you know, you gain health per point of spirit spent, that's also very nice. You can see my resist right now, I'm just under 1,000, and you know, I have 8,500 armor, so still get chunked in T3 when I'm running with party, but realistically it's a damage spec. You're pretty much going glass cannon. You know, I'm hitting 400k HP. There's still a lot of room for improvement in gear, but ideally that's what you're looking for. Now for me, in my gear, what I found with Paragon points, because this is something that I find a lot of people don't really talk about, is as far as your core, I've gone to max my movement speed because being really slow, it just makes the game not as fun to play and you get stuck in a lot of shit. So I've maxed out my movement speed and then put everything else into dex. If you want to go spirit, you can, but you don't really need to. It doesn't do anything for you. I would much rather more dexterity because it gives you damage, dodge, and armor with CZ initiative. So definitely a really good stat. You get a lot of bonus just getting dexterity. As far as offense goes, because I changed my ring, I maxed out crit and now I'm going for crit damage. After that, I would probably go attack speed, then cooldown reduction, because the only cooldowns you're really running, you know, is Mystic Ally, which is kind of whatever, just a little bit more damage, and then Epiphany, which for the most part, if you're centering your build around Epiphany, you're probably doing it wrong anyway. unless you're trying to stack cooldown reduction. But if I had a better ring with more crit on it, then I would probably get a little bit, I'd probably change out a little bit more crit and get more crit damage. As far as defense goes, I've just kind of gone, 1 point in each as I've gone down. A big reason for me why I've done this is because it actually gave me quite a bit more toughness. I needed more armor. Some all resist is very nice. Realistically, I'm probably a little bit lower on life than I want to be, but for me, this has given me the most paper toughness, I guess, or sheet toughness. Life regen is nice, but I'm not really a big fan. If you can dodge abilities a lot more, then you can use your potion a lot more effectively. So this is how I've gone for that. And as far as utility goes, resource cost reduction I maxed first because you want to be able to Lashing Tail Kick as much as possible. And then life on hit after that. You can go area damage if you want to, but I'm looking for a little bit more survivability in my current state of gear. And that's where I'm at. Now, play with the numbers for you and see what comes up with that. But as far as gameplay and stuff like that, I will be uploading probably a few riffs, maybe. We'll see later on today. Voice crack, going through puberty. Anyway, yeah, so that's pretty much how I'm playing the Fire Monk. Now there's some other things you can do as well, like switching out some abilities for more spirit regen, using that. Like as you can see, it doesn't, like I can use quite a few before I'm even low anyway. And that's not including Epiphany. It hits like an absolute truck. If I'm going against a like a boss or even just a rare mob or anything like that, like you just, in my current gear with my DPS the way it is, you just chunk them. It would also be a lot better with a little bit better ring, another fire skills, some more resource cost reductions and crit damage. Like there's still improvements to be made for sure, but the core set of the build and how it works is there. The nice thing about this is, for at least what I really like about Lashing Tail Kick and Fire in itself, is that you do a lot of damage, and for me, I like having that ability to just range mobs if I need to. But anyway, guys, I will be uploading, like I said, a rift probably later on, maybe later on in the day or later on in the week. We'll see. I'm working on a Witch Doctor as well, so hopefully that's up and going. I do have a Lightning Monk that I can kind of talk about if that's what you guys are interested in. I do want to post more videos. I know this one's probably a little bit longer, but I hopefully I covered enough information for you so that you kind of know what you're looking for, and it's a little bit different from other people's guides and stuff like that. The only thing I do want to touch on very quick before I go is, where did I put it? Maximus. It's an insanely good weapon, and if you can get one that rolls, a little bit higher fire skill damage with some dex and stuff like that, don't be afraid to use a two-hander. Your Lashing Tail Kicks will probably hit a little bit harder because of the higher top-end damage. And the nice thing about this is that when you proc the demonic slave that's in there, the fire chain that it creates between you and the slave scales off your fire damage. So for me, it's hitting for like 2 to 5 million depending. And that extra damage is just unreal, especially if you're dashing strike through a bunch of mobs and stuff like that. But it's just something to note. As far as fire goes, this is what I'm running. This is what I've enjoyed playing with the most so far, and I've seen some pretty awesome results with this. Still got some room to grow, make the character better, which is the whole point of Diablo. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I do apologize for it being a little bit longer, but as with my videos, with any of my guides, I do like spending a little bit more time talking about the finer details about some of that stuff. Other than that, thank you guys for watching so much. If you want to see more, comment down below. I will be reading all these comments. I'm going to be making some more videos about this game. If you want me to play something else as well, if you want to see that, also let me know in the comments below. Anyway, I will see you guys later on in the rift.